Scary Phrolova will steal her enemies' lives away, and today I'm here to tell you how to build her best. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. So what echoes does this mysterious conductor desire? None other than 3-piece Dream of a Lost. This is a very unique echo set, because it tailors itself perfectly to Phrolova's kit. Because as it currently stands, she's the only resonator in the game that makes use of having 0 resonance energy, and this is a set that provides crit rate and echo skill damage bonus based on having 0 resonance energy. And because it's a 3-piece set, you're able to pair it with a 2-piece of your choice. I would personally recommend putting it with Havoc Eclipse or Midnight Veil, but otherwise you can also put it with Lingering Tunes or Frosty Resolve, but ultimately go for whatever works best for you. Otherwise, 5-piece Havoc Eclipse is a perfectly fine substitute until you're able to farm a 3-piece Dream of a Lost set. It's quite a basic set in comparison since it only really provides her with a bunch of Havoc damage bonus, but it's still a good set. Her main echo is going to be Nightmare Hecate. 12% Havoc and 20% Echo skill damage bonus are very much worth it. And there's no reason to put any of her Echo in her main slot. If you're running Havoc Eclipse, then you have to run Crowless instead, but ideally you'll be running Hecate on her best set. As for Phrolova's main stats, simple. Go for 4 cost crit percent, 3 cost Havoc percent, 3 cost Havoc percent, 1 cost attack percent, and 1 cost attack percent. You can get away with using Havoc percent and attack percent, but I wouldn't go for double attack. Using at least 1 Havoc piece is recommended. Otherwise, she builds quite traditionally when it comes to her main stats, and she's a standard attack scaler, so you use attack scaling 1 costs. As for Phrolova's stat goals, simple. I'm going to be counting the crit before the set effect. So, 70 to 270 crit rate and damage if she's on a crit weapon, 70 to 230 crit rate and damage if she's not on a crit weapon, 2000 attack on a 4-star weapon, and 2200 attack on a 5-star weapon. This means that after her set buffs, you'll have 90% crit damage. You can push for an extra 10% crit rate if you insist on having 100% crit rate. But this setup is more than sufficient to get your Phrolova conducting her enemies into their graves. When it comes to your sets, you really should just be going for her signature set, especially because it's a 3-piece. That just offers a very unique type of flexibility that we haven't seen before in Wuthering Waves. Get it as soon as humanly possible. Any musical conductor appreciates good instruments, so what'll Phrolova's be? None other than Leafy and Elegy. In terms of signature reliance, Phrolova is actually one of the most signature wanting characters in the entire game, because this weapon is extremely strong for her, and is far better than all of her other options by a huge margin. Attack increase, Echo skill damage gain, Resonance skill damage bonus gain, Echo skill damage amplification, and Death Ignore, all in one weapon that also provides a crit rate main stat. This is utterly busted for her, and it really makes her perform so much better than on any other weapon. If you want Phrolova's top possible performance, you're going to want this weapon. Otherwise, Stringmaster is a perfectly viable alternative. Yes, Stringmaster strikes again. Now, it doesn't completely save her as Lothian Elegy does end up being a lot stronger than Stringmaster, but even so, this remains as her second best choice. Mostly thanks to all of the excellent buffs that it's able to provide. A great option if you have it. Otherwise, you can definitely use Whispers of the Sirens. She can actually leverage the Havoc Res Shred in the passive, but otherwise, she doesn't make much use out of the rest of his weapon. Either way, it still ends up being a very good option for her if you have it. Great choice. Both Rhyme Draped Sprouts and Luminous Hymn end up being pretty decent options for her. Both of these weapons don't really do a lot for her and are honestly just nice 5-star weapon stat sticks. Cool if you have them. Your free-to-play friendly weapon option is going to be Cosmic Ripples, because it's permanently available from the standard banner. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't really provide her with that much value, as there's not really anything in particular here that Phrolova really wants to leverage, but it's still a good weapon. It works fine if you don't have anything else. Phrolova has to be one of the most signature-hungry characters in Wuthering Waves. It's pretty standard for a main DPS to really want their signature 5-star weapon, but in Phrolova's case, it's just as bad as Brant, if not worse. She really likes that signature. She will obviously still clear if you have her on a standard weapon, but needless to say, yes, she is definitely hungry for a good 5-star weapon. Yet who shall be taking their seat at Phrolova's concert? None other than the Havoc duo. Cantarella is easily Phrolova's absolute best in-slot teammate. She provides quite a bit for her. Havoc damage, skill percent on outro, and the ability to provide Phrolova with extra echo skills. They are a match made in the Imperator-ordained heaven, and they were absolutely made to be used with one another. Roshia also finally has a really decent use case now. She is the best in slot 3rd slot teammate for the Triple Havoc team. She's able to buff up Cantarella, buff everybody's flat attack, and overall provide a bit of her own personal damage. So she easily ends up being the best premium team option for this comp. However, I will mention that you can easily replace the Clown Kid with Shorekeeper and not really miss out on that much performance. Cantarella is really the star of the show here. In terms of free-to-play friendly slot-ins, you can use Havoc Rover. Although they don't really do much for Phrolova, they just end up doing a decent amount of damage, and act as a generally good slot-in for Phrolova teams. They're not particularly remarkable, but they perform surprisingly well. Otherwise, you can actually use Donjin, whose outro skill does benefit the conductor, and her S6 is also able to buff everybody's attack. Definitely a good 4-star option for her Havoc teams. In terms of her other use cases, you're actually able to leverage the fact that Phrolova buffs heavy attack damage, which means you can unironically use her as a second slot teammate for Gion. Yes! Not only does the conductor help buff up his own damage, but she's able to do her own off-field damage, making it a surprisingly strong pairing. This is going to have your Gion run into some energy issues, so make sure that you build a little bit more energy than usual if you intend on using this pairing. However, it is actually surprisingly strong. And Phoebe, another heavy attack user, is also able to use Phrolova in this same way. You would honestly be surprised at how high potential this team is. Example teams include the second insane Havoc Lady that Kuro Games has released, Cantarella, and Roshia, Phrolova, Jellyfish Lady, and either Havoc Rover, Donjin, or Shorekeeper. Or if you have none of these characters, then you can even go and use the Conductor, Donjin, and Havoc Rover, Gion, Phrolova, Shorekeeper, or Verena, the Acolyte, Flower Lady, Spectra Rover. Yet how do you play Phrolova? Simple. The thing is, her opener rotation is going to be different from her consistent rotation, so we're going to start off with her opener rotation, which is what you should be doing the first time that you rotate with Phrolova. Then we'll look at her consistent rotation, what you should be doing for the rest of your run. So, swap in Phrolova, basic, basic, basic again if you're in single target, or use her skill if you're in AoE, skill, basic or skill, use her echo, basic, 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 basic or skill, heavy attack,
Life or death, no alternative.
alt,
Chant. Songs of old.
outro. Then for her consistent rotation, intro in, basic, basic or skill, skill, basic or skill, use her echo, basic, 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 basic or skill, heavy attack,
Echoes.
ultimate,
The soul, never enduring.
outro. When it comes to her basic or skill, essentially, you're able to choose between using her basic attack or her skill. Her basic attack does more damage, her skill provides grouping. You just pick whichever one you need, based on the situation that you're in. Yet how does Phrolova work? Well, her basic attacks will deal 3 simple Havoc strikes, and whenever she does 3 basic attacks, she enters the reincarnate state, which lets her pick between the enhanced basic attack or the enhanced skill. These basics provide her with the music notes that make up her Forte circuit. As for Phrolova's skill, she'll attack and deal some Havoc damage, and it sends her into the reincarnate state. As for Phrolova's Resonance Liberation, she'll gain a 120% attack increase, and she's then going to summon Hecate, who's able to do different moves based on what you do. This summon is able to either attack enemies, group enemies, or stun enemies. The goal is to use as many echo skills as possible whenever Hecate is up. This liberation is also unique because it does not work based on resonance energy. It instead relies on the music notes that you're able to generate. As for her Forte skill, it's what holds these music notes, while also housing her enhanced basic attack and skill. As for her intro skill, she'll deal some Havoc damage to the enemy, and also end up doing her third basic attack instantly if you press normal attack shortly after switching in. Good stuff. And as for her outro skill, she'll provide 20% Havoc damage amp and 25% heavy attack damage amp for 14 seconds to the incoming resonator. And if Hecate's on field whenever she outros, then Hecate's going to attack 2 times. Surprisingly provides her some supportive capabilities, not a bad outro at all. As for her inherent skills, simple. Her I1 provides her with interruption res, and affects her notes. Pretty good stuff. As for her I4, it mostly serves to give her some free crit damage. Good stuff. As for Phrolova's Forte priority, simple. Go for this. Definitely make sure that you level up her Liberation and Basics, since they're a really big part of her kit, and her Forte is definitely important too. Her intro and skill aren't really as important to level up, so you could honestly get away with not really investing in them. The other 3, however, I would get up as high as possible. Are you looking to tip this conductor for her excellent performance? Then let's talk sequences. Her S1 improves her damage multipliers, and helps out with her note generation. Very good S1, but not necessary by any means. Her S2 improves her damage multipliers once again, and helps her generate after sound quicker. Definitely a good S2. The extra after sound is very appreciated, and also the enhanced heavy attack is very, very nice. Her S3 enhancing her echo skill damage is very, very cool. The attack reduction isn't really a big deal, but it's nice for survivability, I suppose. Her S4 is honestly quite strong. 20% attribute damage bonus for everybody for 30 seconds. That is quite nice. It's also pretty cool if you're using Phrolova more as a support. Good stuff. Her S5 is once again more so for survivability, and thus isn't really that big of a deal. Her S6 is very, very strong. Naturally, it turns her into an absolute havoc nuke. I'd say if you're looking for a strong S6, yeah, Phrolova's definitely not a bad investment to make. Very good stuff. I think in terms of high astrites based investment, your best possible investment would actually be her signature weapon. While Cantarella is absolutely excellent for her, you ideally really want that Sig. I would say it definitely completes her as a unit. She's quite flexible teams-wise. I would say Cantarella is then your next best bet after that, and I would say that Roshia is a bit of a redundant investment. She's definitely the best in slot, but you don't need her by any means. However, she is indeed quite strong in the triple havoc team, so I would say that if you want to go the extra kilometer, then Roshia is not a bad pickup at all. All around, I would say that this conductor definitely ended up being quite impressive. How about yourself? Are you impressed with Phrolova? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, I have a silly second channel where I just kind of post whatever in regards to gacha games. Head on over and check that out if it's something that you're interested in. Hopefully this video was able to get your Phrolova conducting her enemies' lives to their ends. This has been Juice, signing out, and Coral really has a thing for releasing crazy ladies, huh?